Okay. Whew, yeah. Sorry, everybody. I thought we were going to get delayed again. Lisa couldn't hear me again, and I was going to get really frustrated. How we were going to go
And
live the other day, and she couldn't hear me, and then she could hear me, and then it wouldn't let me click on anything. It was very frustrating. Hello, Lisa.
you're actually on the TV now.
Oh, am I showing up?
Yes, dear, you are.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we have I'm sorry. And then on top of that, I'm just trying to adjust to a new schedule. I made a post on my Facebook. It's just a different schedule. And on top of it, my 2-year-old is deciding maybe nap times are not his thing anymore.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's doing good right now. He's upstairs. He's quiet. So I said, I'm going to take my moments as we can. Um, Lots to talk about. Lisa's here. So we're going to talk about some things. Before then, I just want to address a few things, um, give some updates. Uh, First and foremost, the videos that I do make, if I elaborate and go further than just an initial interview, it's because and Lisa can vouch, we're in constant contact. I'm always, and that's enabled us. We've done a lot more videos. And then there's families that come on and do an interview, and that's all that they want to do. They don't really want any more than that, just to make everybody aware of the situation. And then there's some, that just nothing derives out of it. And we talk about it and we bring it back up and we keep it in the light. But each family that comes to me is different. So I act accordingly. So as far as Josh Bohannon, I've had some people comment on the few videos that I did on him. And just by the way that they comment, they said that they've been following me. And just by the way they commented, I know that they have not, because I have not gone that deep into Josh. I am not in that constant contact with them. That interview I did with his aunt, and I really didn't do anything after that. We weren't. It wasn't that type of relationship. Did I hint that, the questions that they have in the account of his wife? Yes, they're credible. They were credible then. I have not personally dived down that rabbit hole. So, I had some people comment and say I owed his wife and her boyfriend an apology, and if I felt that way, and yeah, I would. But and then Josh was found, and I even said in the very video that they were commenting on that if it does make her account at the very least seem a little bit more credible. But then you have to take in the account of people who know Josh and his medical conditions, and the vicinity he was found in just still doesn't add up for them. And I have said that I hope that questions are answered. I hope we do find out. And I, in fact, said that if her account seems to turn out, then she has a door to come speak on it if she wants. But as far as owing them an apology, I know that there are a lot of people that have gone down that rabbit hole, but I've not been in the contact of to go down there. The questions are credible, and I'll stick beside that. And I really hope that now that Josh is home and found, they get answers. So I just wanted to address that. I act on Lisa to tell you, we work close together, so we're able to do more together, and that's how I run my page. So I don't think I've bashed them at all, and for them following along with me, if I did, I do. I mean, I don't think I have. I just
You
don't.
know,
I don't.
I
I
don't
just.
Go ahead.
No, I haven't been, as involved with it. She came on and did an interview. I came back on and said that the questions that they have in the account is questionable. Incredible. I think they're good questions. And then after Josh was found, I even said that it kind of gives a little credibility to her account, but again, you have this whole other side of it. So I really
Well,
just and if they know something I don't, I am not privy to that. The last update I had seen from the family is that there are no updates and they're planning a celebration of life for
right.
him. So
Well, to jump to
we just don't
conclusions,
know what happened yet.
no, not yet, and it's an ongoing investigation, and I'm sure they can't comment on, much till the reports come back as to where she's credible or not.
Yeah.
Depends on what that report brings back. There's a lot is going to be in that report. And if if it turns out that it's not natural causes and somebody says too much, it can impede the investigation. Where in my instance, I've been an open book from day
Yeah.
one, and straight out front. Some families aren't like that. That was the only choice I had. It was, that was my avenue to fight.
Yeah. And then that's all and I know that there are people out there that have gone down there. But all I've ever said was, yeah, I mean, it's kind of sketchy. And then afterwards, she kind of distanced herself. But then I also said, it could be because she's innocent. She had nothing to do with it, and people are with her with pitchforks. But I even said
Uh,
in the very video that they were commenting on, just because you cheat on your husband doesn't mean that you killed him. So, I mean, it
it's
happens
true.
every day without somebody dying. We just don't know. But
That's
like
true.
here's in the Gainesboro and that, yeah, I've gone down some people. Shoot, I've gone down some paths, but I haven't gone in Josh. I can say I haven't gone there with
Well,
him.
the families held that, each family's different, as you say. They've held it pretty close to the vest. And, that's within their rights. They have to be respected. But in the same token,
Yeah,
you have to understand, if the girl hasn't got anything to do with it, then that's what's going to come out.
yeah.
But right now,
It's questionable. It is sketchy, and
yeah,
that's all I've ever said.
yeah. I mean, right now it's still it can go either way.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own opinions. There's none of us think alike, so
But I
it's
don't
a
think
little
anybody knows anything official right now. Nothing. We
no.
don't know. It's
And,
not. I'm just
and
more worried about the celebration of life that as soon as I
yeah,
see a date for that, I will make
yeah,
sure that is known for sure.
yeah. But as far as her deserving apology right now, but actually she hasn't been accused. She was simply said that some things didn't add up. That's not accusing.
Yeah. No. It just isn't.
So
It's if you look at the whole picture, it is quite like nature lover. It's easy to go down that path. And it is because of the things that she was doing, posting the pics of her. Yeah, it is very easy. And that's all
yeah,
I've said. The things that she done doesn't make her account, look any better. It's sketchy.
she she didn't portray herself as the
Yeah.
grieving widow.
Yeah. There was just a
But yeah,
disconnect. There was no
yeah,
sense of urgency is what I've been calling it.
yeah. Everybody responds in
Yeah.
different ways, and that's all you can say because we're all different. So
Hey, Rev
the
J. Rev J's here.
yeah, there,
Afternoon. Um,
yeah,
because that's my biggest thing is when, I don't make any promises. I'm simply here, to bring awareness, do your research, form your own opinions. These are just mine, and we work close together, and the more close we work together, I'm more. It's easier to form, opinions and stuff. But I'm not. It's not like that with everybody. Yeah, I have plenty of videos where I just simply bring awareness,
Right.
And
Well,
then
you've
there are
done
some cases that, move.
you've done an exceptional job bringing voices, but in the group, you can't make these people come out till they find comfort, till they're ready to tell their stories. A lot of stories that's still sitting in the background that's never even come out in group. And when they're ready, it's there. And when they're ready to come to you, it's there. It's an opportunity to get your story out. You know, a lot of cases people never know about them. And this platform, it's not got into the bashing of each other. It's been to bring voices to these people, and it's important, to know that they know they have support. Somebody's got
Well,
their back.
I'm not interested. Everybody around, I'm just not interested. People in the comments, you guys are free to say what you want, but while we're up here, I just like to get straight to the point. I like to
Yeah,
take everything in, sift through it, and just get straight to and it works because, I was going to bring up a few cases that I'm going to start to be a little quiet on. I know I came blazing in saying we're about to go down these put everything out on the table, but then, I just what my page is for is I want to get attention. I'm not
right.
trying to bring drama. And if we can go straight to the point and get to those people, then that's fine. And that's what's happening. I'm
Yeah,
going to have to quiet down on the Gainesboro Four, Parker Morris, Leon Baker. I came on and his family did an interview, and they got an email, and there was talks of letters, some questionable letters that came in after Leon disappeared, months after he was no contact. And
wow.
after we aired, they emailed and they were very interested in those letters, and they actually got copies and they're looking into that. So a lot of that's, I feel like, now I'll shut up. I came on here, I said we're going to talk until they do that, and then well, I feel like those are, right now is a good time to calm down. I just say to people looking in and that are creating the movement that just remember why you're doing it and apply some pressure this time. Uh,
Yeah.
Time around,
Uh,
especially Gainesboro 4 case. I think it's a good time to apply some pressure and remember what you're doing it for. Uh,
right.
Parker, same. Just remember. And
Yeah.
Leon's family is in Hawaii. He went missing out of Las Vegas, and it's very difficult for them. So,
Yes, it
just
is.
I'm never here to create hope, but movement like that does.
Yes, it does. And
So,
in Aaron's case, it's been a little drawn out. But I've been out front and open with his all along. I mean, they're gonna have to show me I'm wrong. Nobody's addressed, anything that I am wrong. And the further we move along, I'm being reassured I'm not wrong. So
yeah.
there's questionable things, what we were told, what was actually the truth. And now I understand why they didn't want me to have the 911 report. I
Oh,
understand it completely. But in it, there's some things that you can still call into question in that report, and
so I took a
you know,
snippet. I sent you that snippet.
yes, the snippet.
The little snippet.
Uh,
I'm gonna pull it up here so
well,
that way I can.
yeah, 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 I'm okay with that. Put it up if you want to,
It's
and then
just that little bit that I sent you. Yeah, that I got from you.
yeah, and then put the house up.
Yeah, I got that up here too because that's very
Okay.
important.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is.
Now, I'm used to this share. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So, for the first 7 months after Aaron, was said to have hung himself.
Right.
You thought what? What were they telling you?
Uh, we were originally told by Detective Derek Sidwell that Karen and Aaron were at the house alone and that they had got into a fight. He had hit her, slapped her across. She flew across the couch, hit a table. Uh, there was nowhere in the house that was possible. All the furniture was basically backed up to walls. I went in the house Monday after I'd been to the funeral home. And up until, I had started having a lot of calls. And, I had complete faith in this detective. I was the one that always had to make the calls. I don't recall him ever once calling me. I was generally the one initiated the call. I'd give him what information was being given to me, and obviously he thought it was hysterical. He told the DA he didn't understand why I was doing that. Uh, you know, People will come to you. A lot of these people are friends, that I've known a lifetime. Even the people in this circle with this bunch of people I've known, they do what they do. I still consider them friends. They're still people. But up until the report come in, we were under the impression, well, actually, up until I got a hold of the report, they were still sticking to only Karen and Aaron were there. But when we listened, me, my daughter, and a friend got to listen to the stuff, all the calls. They actually had a 911 report out of Nashville about it, and we got to see it, the transcript of it. But we got to listen to the audio on Karen's interview, Crystal's, Russell's. Hacks was recorded on June the 2nd. They let us see that. But after we
Well,
up until we heard the report, up until we listened to it, we had been told that only Aaron and Karen were there. And when we heard on the tape that there's 5 up there fighting, I jumped up and said, wait a minute. I said, I thought only Karen and Aaron were there. And the lady in the office with us, she said, I don't know, and then started running it again. Up until that point, we had been told that it was Karen and Aaron only there. And the report plainly shows otherwise.
Yes. Now, I want to let everybody know this is not Aaron's girlfriend on the 911 call.
No, it is not.
Not the one speaking.
Actually, they didn't even get the girl's name right. This girl is actually Hack's grandson. Yeah, Hack's grandson's girlfriend that lives in the trailer down the street. So her name is actually Hannah, not Anna Cherry.
So and that brings up another point I want to get to later. But my thing is for at least 7 months, you said, approximately 7 months, they had you believing.
Yeah, that only Karen and Aaron were there.
Knowing from day one that was a lie.
Oh, yeah, they knew all along. They went and run the people. They met them leaving and went and run these people down and brought them back.
I seen that. And that, like, I just want everybody to know that I have the full report. I've read it. I've seen in there. I seen that. And I asked you about that specific. I said, what? Because I'm not, that was news to me even. And you were like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I didn't tell you that. I was like, no, no, that is crazy. And they knew all this from day one.
Yeah. And you know, yeah. There's so
So,
many reasons we could try to come up with as to why. I believe initially, with them calling the district attorney out, that it was being looked at as a murder. But they didn't, they didn't tell us. And actually, I don't know that they were aware, or the detective I talked to in December of 20, he wasn't even aware that we had ever seen or heard any of the evidence up until that point. And we're talking 20 months later, maybe.
okay, I was going to show but I want to point something out now. This is not the girlfriend. This is on the 911 call. The family member of we got the Cox house, and then she's a family member that lives off the street. I'm going to show that next, but I want to point something out here. She is saying, people are trying to get him down. He has already turned blue. People are blue. 5 people are out there fighting. And you have always told me that there could be up to 9. So we know definitively that there were at least 5 there now from
Right.
this.
Right.
Okay, but my point is, this is not the girlfriend speaking. This is a third-party person that was down the road.
Yes.
But she's not seeing this. She has not seen this. So it has to be something that she was told.
Yes, or she's assuming. It could be either one.
Yeah.
Because the distance.
See this herself.
No, the distance from where I actually spoke to this young woman. She stood in front of her house talking to 911. Karen run all the way down to this trailer, which if you can pull that house up, you can see.
I am right now.
It's a long distance to have had to walk. And wait a minute. Okay, the house is the trailer
is circled.
Okay, that is the house, the shed
circled. Yeah, the dots, the green dots is the house.
Right. Yeah. Well, where that shed is at, when I was up there on Tuesday after he passed away, the grass was real deep, and there's a fence like there in that red line below the trees. You have to go out onto the highway to get around that fence. So this is a long distance to have walked. There is no possible way, look at the trees, she could have possibly seen in that shed.
Yeah.
Impossible.
So the girlfriend
see up there you see up there where the driveway is?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a small porch attached to that. You can just barely see it in the photo. She was standing, what she told me, on her porch, and Karen was standing on the ground. And like I said, there's no way you can see for the trees and the brushes.
No.
It's not possible. I mean, if that were a fact, that means Karen stood there and watched him and didn't try to get him help if they had been alone. So, I mean, what we've been told was don't match anything they have told us.
And then you got the fact. So they're in the shed where that circle is. This is happening. And first of all, she even walks, instead of walking towards a house full of people.
She walked down the street.
She walks that far down the street with cell phone in hand, right?
Yeah, from my understanding, she was on the line with the 911 operator and wasn't talking. And she got down there, knocked out. She was screaming, knocked on Hannah's door, handed her the phone. When Hannah opened the door and said, "Here, you talk to him." And I have the conversation that shows that's what Hannah said. So
those green dots represent about what we've gathered. Maybe there was up to 9 people, but we know that there were 5. So that's what the green dots represent. Is
yeah,
how many people were in this location, yet she chose to go
nobody.
down the
Yeah,
street.
exactly. Why would you do that? Why would you not? And when Hack was interviewed, actually, you could see his interview. He had on they're sitting out on the carport, and he had on a Hawaiian like print shirt. And Derek asked him if he had ever seen a rope hanging on the wall in Aaron and Karen's room, and Hack said no.
Because
Karen
the
said,
story was that she told was they were fighting, they had an argument, and then he went to the room, grabbed a rope, grabbed her by the hand, took her out to the shed, and said, "You're going to watch this." And literally the statement she made is that's exactly what she did. Aaron didn't break
yeah,
his neck. He didn't, even if that, and I want to say I do not believe her statement at all. That's just my opinion. But let's just say that that's the one they went with. So let's go down that. So you're
no,
telling me that he took you out there. He put the rope up, did all of this. He jumped down and did not break his neck, mind you. So he suffocated.
but he still didn't have.
And she alerted nobody. And that's what she wants
Exactly.
us to believe.
Well, yeah, and then she, in her interview,
None of
she
those
said,
green dots were aware of the situation that was going on in the shed.
no, no.
I mean,
And
it's not like a heat of the moment they were arguing and bang, she shot a gun here.
no,
This was a process.
It was. It was.
But that's
The
not what
only,
happened.
no, she said that he swung out, she got his legs, and she swung him back over and got his foot caught.
But see, if she
And
was there by herself, like they had you believing, that story would make sense. How is she going to stop this big old man? Aaron was a big old boy. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
How's she going to
She,
stop it? So her being by herself would corroborate
yeah,
her.
if she had, yeah. But again, why do you have a cell phone in your hand that you're not on 911
Even then,
talking and
exactly.
hollering and screaming, "I need help, I need help." He's trying to kill himself, and her. I mean, you can actually throw the phone down, and they could have still heard her, and her trying to get him down. But like I said, there's too many things. The rope's not long enough. Uh, when the crime scene photos show it loose, real loose around his neck, it shows no marks.
So
Uh,
how did I was asking you this, and I'm just asking you again so everybody can kind of hear it too. So how did it ever come about that Aaron was actually, according to what they were saying, and it happened? How did they ever say that he was actually cut down? Because just want to remind everybody that Aaron was already down before officers,
but
EMS, anybody
actually,
to the scene.
I had never. The only thing that I was ever told, that I heard, who cut him if he was actually. I don't believe he ever hung.
No.
But I think they may have tried, but they didn't realize how heavy he would be dead weight. But I'd never heard in any place that who cut him down was addressed. The detective never told me. Uh, Russell Cox did say he tried CPR, which, you can't do CPR on somebody laying on their side.
Yeah.
He told it. He told Aaron's dad the same thing. Uh, but who cut him down was never addressed. There's nobody had ever said anything to me about who cut him down. But you got to stop and think. By the time she ran all the way down to this house or walked and called 911, took them roughly paramedics, I think 20 minutes, something like 18 to 20 minutes to get there, according to this report.
Mm-hmm.
The report says that they were trying to get his foot unhung, but he was on the ground. So no one ever seen him hanging. No one. And
so which brings me to, we've been talking about this blue line. First of all, I just want to make that's why I brought this back up. Why they even waited so long till even if he was turning blue and hanging is another questionable thing. Why would it shouldn't have got, if they're saying that's what happened and we want to go with that, fine. But why? There's all these loopholes in these questions within her statement. That doesn't make sense. And then that's why I want to bring up I just know who I'm talking to here. So I'm sorry, Lisa. The rope line, people, it says there's a faint blue line. First of all, did you see, you seen Aaron and
yeah. I didn't see one. And I was, I realized I wasn't objective at that. I was a mother at that point. I'm still a mother, but I knew I wasn't objective.
But where were they saying it was at, though?
On the report, it shows a mark below his what would be his Adam's apple.
Yes.
It says there was a mark there.
Yes.
I didn't see it either.
But if there was, that's not consistent with somebody hanging. It wouldn't be.
That could have been done from somebody standing behind him.
That's what I've been saying.
And but I couldn't even see it. And I turned to the mortician. I said, "Do you see any marks on his neck?" And he said, "I can't find any." And that's when I seen. I mean, you don't sustain the kind of damage he had to him from hanging. If these 5 people are the ones that got him down, they wasn't gonna and they were his friends, they wasn't just gonna cut him loose and drop him. I mean, that don't make sense.
And you'll never get me to believe that this girl stood there for, like I said, he didn't snap his neck, he suffocated. That can be a lengthy amount of time.
Yeah.
And he stood there until he turned blue?
Yeah.
Nah. And nobody heard you? Mm-mm.
Exactly.
I don't care.
No.
It wasn't this quick, boom, I shot you, oh my gosh, freak out, he's gone. You had so much time to be so hysterical for somebody to hear you in that shed. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And, and like I said, Hannah, there's no possible way she could have seen down there. It's just not possible because like I said, the weeds were high at the time.
That's what she was being told.
I don't know, or maybe she was a second.
Or she was there. Those are the only two reasonable.
Yeah, well, she told me that she was standing on her front porch, and Karen was standing there.
Yeah,
but I don't know exactly where. If they picked Karen up at her house, or if Karen had made her way back down to Hack's house, but they took her to jail immediately. And I mean, her interview the next morning, she was all over the place. But of course, she had been super high. And from my understanding, they're not even supposed to interview people that's under the influence. Mm. Now, I'm not sure on that one, but I've just been told that.
I don't see that.
But the questions in her interview, all the questions to Russell, to Crystal, they were all yes and no led questions. We got to hear them. Now, there was a few places in Russell's where it was like the microphone was being covered up. Mm-hmm. And I asked about that. Of course, the lady that was in there with us, she wasn't there, so she couldn't tell us why the mic might be covered up. I better keep my mouth shut on some things, but I've got my opinions. That's kind of like the White County lawsuit going now. They buy officers' body cams. Why has this officer got his body cam in his hand and not on? And why is he putting it in the back seat of a car? If they're not going to wear them, we don't need to be paying for them. Mm-hmm. So, there's just.
Well, my big thing is you have been out here for a long time now, saying, they lied to you. And I think it's hard for people to imagine that. So when I came across this 911 and a lot of people even told me, and I've told you, they came at your credibility is going to be nobody's going to, if you, and I'm just like, then where are all the people telling her that she's telling me and saying that she's a liar?
True.
That was my biggest question. Where are all the people saying? And then you've been saying this the whole time. It wasn't just
that's my story. The only thing this report proves I was wrong about.
People, and we've seen Aaron. The injuries he sustained are not consistent with a suicide.
No. Actually, if Aaron had done this, when he stepped off, say he had the rope around his neck and it was laying below that Adam's apple. When he stepped off, that would have snapped that bone automatically. The report, you have a copy of the autopsy. Yeah. It clearly states there was no batikii, there's no swollen tongue, and the hyoid bone was intact. All of that stuff is consistent with hanging. And, there's always an upside down V at the back of the neck. There wasn't one.
None.
And bruising occurs sometimes for up to 30 minutes after death. But the thing here is, what is the purpose of leaving him laying on the ground if it's a cut and dry suicide for 8 hours? He didn't leave till 10 minutes after 3, according to this report. 10 minutes after 3 in the morning. It happened somewhere around 5:15. Yeah. Why?
His dad wasn't allowed to ID him.
Yeah. And he had, according to the autopsy, he had a slow PEA. He had no respiration. He had no pulse. He just hadn't expired yet. And they can live up to 5 hours like that. So what's the purpose? We know how much he had to drink that day. The liquor bottle I have is not his brand. But there's also a surgical tube and makeshift funnel laying on the ground in photos. Mm-hmm. And then I get asked if I'd ever heard of it by an ex-law enforcement, and I hadn't. And he informed me that they sometimes done that to raise alcohol levels. Then it made sense to me because Aaron had a half pint in his back pocket, and he still had half of it, according to Derek Sidwell. So, I mean, things start to take, with that takes
Well,
a little, at six
well, there,
six, him drinking all day, and there's no way his blood alcohol could have been that high. He probably wouldn't have been able to climb with his blood alcohol that high. Then you got that, where did the broken right wrist come
yeah,
from?
no,
You can
I will
know.
fight everybody all day. That wrist is broken. I know. I've had,
And what about the dried blood on his
yeah.
face? Why was he soaking wet and everything else that was around there soaking wet? His suitcases were open. They were soaking
My
wet.
thing is, anybody that's been following along, we've done a few videos now, and there was a lot of things that we found that Aaron knew. So, and
Oh,
all
yeah.
these people at this location, had very good reason to want to harm Aaron. Let's just throw that out there. Okay, so, but what was going down that day was Aaron was done with his girlfriend.
Yes.
So he went back there
To collect it. Well, he had loaned Russell $200 on the second, and he had paid Hack the rent for the month. When Hack took Aaron that morning over to his dad's, they spent the whole day together.
instead of
Hack told
giving him the money then, he tells him to come back.
him, right, come back somewhere around 5 o'clock. And 4:55, somewhere in that neighborhood, his dad said he asked him to take him down there, and he
And
took
his
him down
bags were
there.
packed.
Yeah,
He had his stuff packed, ready
actually,
to go.
he had washed his laundry and put everything in the suitcase. They asked him to come back, his dad took him back down there. His dad's driving the truck. So Aaron took his suitcases with him, set them in the driveway. I don't know that they ever went back in the house. I don't know where they went from that point, but he did tell his dad that he loved him, told him to come back and get him in 30 minutes, asked his dad what he thought about the shoes he had on, and his dad's comment was suggested he really didn't like them. And he kissed his daddy and told him bye. He had on long sleeve blue thermal shirt, jeans, a belt, and those shoes, and his Realtree hat. And crime scene photos show him in a short sleeve white t-shirt. His belt was undone, his pants were undone, and his boots, he had on boots now instead of the brown shoes. And the boots lace up to the knees. They were laced all the way down to the bottom because Aaron always had to wear a bandage on his left foot where he had been in a car wreck and it never would heal. And then, if what Karen said was true, he was pushing her off with his hands and feet, those boots would have fell off his feet. And the bandage that he always wore on his foot was laying there on the ground. We have photos of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just
My biggest thing is between Aaron going there to be done with her and all these things we found out that Aaron had, I just almost wonder if it was just the perfect just hurricane of events. He was going there. Did they get into it, and things kind of get have an altercation? You have, we know for sure, at least 5 people there. So did people start to step in, things escalate, and then they say, oh my God, we got to try to cover this up?
That's I I do know that there was an altercation in the kitchen. Rufus got his front tooth knocked out, and to collaborate that, the mortician, he asked me. He said, "Was he in a fight?" He said he looks like he put up one hell of a fight. And I told him at that time I had no idea.
And then you got a girl down the road who is also family of the family that lives in this house
Exactly.
saying there's 5 of them up there fighting.
Yeah. I mean, there's loopholes all the way through it. I give them
But they
total.
were very, they are so firm that he did this to himself.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've never heard, and I could be wrong on this. I've never heard of a detective, any police officer, or DA attorney admit they were wrong.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't seem. It's like a saving face thing. I can't be wrong. I'm above reproach.
Yep.
That means that to me that just says they think they're not human. They don't make mistakes.
I think we kind
Everybody
of know they instill that those
oh,
things
yeah,
should never
yes.
happen because they took that oath. And it doesn't happen everywhere. There are good people, officers
oh God,
there.
yes. Oh God,
But
yes.
to think that once they take that oath, there's this just magical being where they're not full of error is
Well,
you gotta break that.
your report shows all the badge numbers that were there.
Yeah.
Two of them, both of these two that I do recognize are deceased. Uh, it's unfortunate.
But then when they're
Derek,
actually caught literally lying about very important details,
yeah, and that's much like
there's nothing that whoops. Well, what do you want us to do about it?
yeah. My thing is, at that time, do the right thing, clear his name for his kids. There's always cases out there. There's thousands where people are never charged. And that's just a fact of life. But all I ever asked was to clear his name for his children. And, there's enough proof you could go in front of the grand jury and get an indictment. But for whatever reason, they choose not to. I believe the reason Aaron wasn't helped because he knew too much. He saw too much because he told me too much information.
Yeah.
And,
I think it was a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it just happened because, that's up not letting his dad up there to hold him.
Why?
They didn't do that because they were afraid he'd respond and come back.
Because you found out that the
I didn't know that. Go ahead.
You found out that the EMS arrived, left, didn't do CPR.
No, didn't even try. Yes, I'm aware that the quality of life, if somebody comes back from a slow PEA, isn't good, depending on how long they were gone. Who's to say when she got there? He had just quit breathing. She don't know that. She don't know how long this has been. This was
not to try.
She should have tried. And from what I understand, this gal is notorious for not trying to help anybody at a drug house. She ain't got no business being a paramedic.
No.
And, if you're not going to enforce the law square across the board for everybody, or render medical treatment square across the board, you're in the wrong profession. Because to be a good officer and to be officer of the court, district attorney, attorneys, there has to be a certain amount of a certain ability of communication, skills, compassion.
Yeah.
They showed us no compassion whatsoever. I can say as far as the DA was concerned, I spoke to him twice, although I tried to speak to him numerous times and never got a return call. He spoke to me decently. He didn't speak to me compassionately, but he spoke to me decently.
It's disgusting, the things that I've heard. Not just
Well,
you, all
yeah,
pretty much all the families that I've talked to. Maybe not all of them, but definitely damn near 98% of them.
yeah. Well,
It's
the
just,
thing, I'd had a conversation with a guy the other day about the people on that board. He said, well, a lot of them are they're drug related. I said, whether it's drug related or not, whether they do drugs or they don't, I said they're human beings. They all deserve a fair shake at life.
yeah.
Uh, and when they have questions, my phone's gonna try to ring on me. Maybe it won't go through. I hope it don't anyway. But anyway, I told him, I said, I said a few people might not be on the board if the district attorney or someone would explain to them, answer their questions, instead of this is the way it is. Bye. I mean, you have people that are not highly educated, don't understand the terms that's on the reports, and it's like they capitalize on that. If you haven't got the right name, if you haven't got something to
Yeah.
offer, you're considered, you don't deserve their time. And
Well, and if
you
you
don't
guys are
have,
kept so in the dark, you
yes,
don't really,
yes,
they can do whatever they want.
yeah, and if you think about it, if they had answered some of these questions in the initial stages, then one or two of them faces might not be on that board because these people understood why they went that way. But that is not the case here. It's when they walk in, they're told it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And all that does is raise questions.
Yep.
And if you're not a people person and you can't communicate with some compassion, they're in the wrong line of work because they're playing with people's lives. And a lot of it's uncalled for. A lot of the pain that's been caused is uncalled for. And you've got 100 people out on the street that says the same thing, but this person over here can't admit he's wrong. And if something turns out somewhere down the road, and I know it's not going to, that I was wrong, I'll be happy to say I'm sorry. But it'd been a lot easier for it to have been him actually done it. But when you see all the evidence, the people that's tried to talk that were told to mind their own damn business,
Yeah.
something's wrong. There's rumors, mafia's all tied up and controlling everything up in there. I don't know about that. All I know is how the people have acted to me, to my family. Because Aaron, whether they initially thought it or not, the boy was very, very loved. And his daddy told him the night it happened, when that boy's mama gets here, there's going to be hell on earth. I think his dad, and one thing is his dad, when they shouldn't have interviewed his dad to start with. It's a scene.
Right.
He's standing there in shock.
Yeah.
Uh, he asked him, he wanted to take his statement. And Aaron's dad asked him, he said, "Why aren't you recording my statement?" He said, "Well, we don't have that equipment." And they turned right around and recorded Russell's and Crystal's right there in front of it. And, and they're saying that his dad's drawing a check for bipolar. Uh, Bipolar or not, there's a lot of people that is bipolar, but Aaron wasn't bipolar. And, they could have rewrote that statement at any time they wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they did. They could have added some stuff in. But the point is, why did they tell him they didn't have that kind of equipment and let him stand there and listen to what the other two was saying? I mean, it's too much, you've got one mistake. You can look over that. That can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Two mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you can tear what me and my daughter and this lady sat and listened to, well, I have a photo of 2 notebook pages full of questions we walked out of there with. 2 notebook pages. And we wasn't there. We didn't get to see and hear completely everything. But that's how, somebody with a trained eye that knows what they're doing, they can pick it apart.
Yeah.
All they had to do was Aaron's hands were never bagged to see if there was a fight. He's just laying there on the ground, exposed to the elements for 8 hours. Actually, now from 5 to 3:10 in the morning, 5:15, right at 10 hours. They didn't declare him dead till 6:15. They never took a body temperature at the scene. Autopsy report doesn't have stomach contents on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of this stuff is always part of an autopsy. So, there is a lot of protocols that were not followed. I don't know if they know the protocols. After watching the video on the Lauren Agee case and the detective, he sat and told, what he didn't do and didn't offer any apologies for not doing them. I mean, it's too common in this history.
That to know that it could just come down to people's perspective. And that's what I've been saying. Like, what they deem is evident, what they deem to keep, what they deem to throw out. And it's just all comes down to what is going through this person's mind. And it's so initial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to pick? And you don't know definitively. Yes, you're seasoned. You go into, you've seen this before. You have your experience. You have all these things. I get that. I truly do.
Yeah.
But how do you go into a situation, look at it, and automatically just say, this is what happened, so we don't need anything else?
Exactly. And see, the one thing in the crime scene photos, and all of them we looked at, there were none of the rope hanging on that beam. Why would that rope not be photos of it hanging on the beam?
And it's and I'm not saying all of it is corruption. It's just human error based on protocol, based on what you're told, based on the atmosphere of the scene at the time. When you can hypothetically say anything you want went down, but you don't know until you process everything. And by that I mean
exactly. I mean, from the position of the rope when it was being taken down, the video of it being taken down, and knowing Aaron's wrist was broke, it's not humanly possible for him to have made that reach, tie that knot. And actually, I done my own little test of the same kind of rope, and it barely frayed when the pressure was cut off of it. I mean, barely. And we're talking about in them photos, what, 2 foot of rope being frayed? So, somebody, the expert, the lady that's been around ropes and all this since she was in diapers, she said they took that rope between their hands and ruffled it up, which means they left an awful lot of DNA.
Hold on
I
just
mean,
a second, Lisa. Hold on. I will be right back.
okay. Baby.
Oh, it's just my little one. He's not going
Okay.
down after all. He's screaming bloody murder. Ollie came. He was. I heard Ollie outside the door. Mom,
Bless his heart. But,
man.
there's just, there's, one or two questions. I get that. But in all truthfulness, we didn't know what the ruling they were going with up until 6 months later, because they had led me all that time to believe that they were investigating. And when the DA, when the ADA called me, Derek had told me, actually have it recorded, that he was waiting on a 5-page report on the rope before he made a decision. And then the ADA called me and told me I didn't have any choice in accepting whatever he decided. But when I asked the final question, what was on the report on the rope, he said there is no such report. We don't do that in suicides. I
Which
said,
is
well, you know what? I said, I've got a recording between me and your detective that states he was waiting on a 5-page report. He hung up on me. Hadn't talked to him since, and I don't have any desire whatsoever to talk to him. Anybody that can talk down to somebody like, you don't got no choice. There's choices in life always. They may not be ones we want to make, but there's choices. And
yeah.
the Mr. Dunaway, he was not the one that called and said they were going with suicide. Uh, we didn't know till we received the autopsy report from the state medical examiner, and then they had to say we could have a copy of it. They had to call the DA and get out, had to say we could have a copy of it. So, I mean, and then there was supposed to have been a letter accompanying it, which I hope everybody listens. There's always supposed to be a letter, and it's on the medical examiner's website that says you have a year to dispute their what the ruling. Most people I've talked to never received that letter. And I didn't know, I'm not real computer savvy or about websites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't.
Well, and
These
I think they kind of take advantage of the fact that people
They
don't know.
do. Yes, ma'am. They do 100%. Now, I just hope anybody. The rule was passed that was passed in 17 or 19, that they had to have that accompanying letter, and they didn't offer it to us. Even the medical examiner's office didn't offer it. So, I mean, and they'll say, they go along with whatever the officer at the scene says. The state medical examiner needs to be doing his job and not just going along. It's not right. I mean, there's just too much. I mean, it's obvious. You look at the people in this district, and since that boards went up, there's more. And there's no telling how many more there's going to be. Uh, as far as Mr. Dunaway and his air experience, he spoke to me nice, but he was not the one that informed me. Like I said, we saw suicide when we received the report. So,
Yeah.
Definitely a lack of communication skills. They definitely don't want the family helping, even if it's important, valuable. It's just whichever they believe, it's whichever way they decide to go. And in Tennessee, according to the governor and Tennessee State Attorney General, they have no authority over an elected district attorney. However, if that DA steps down, the governor is the one that appoints the next one, or what you call the interim. So if he hadn't got any say so, why is he allowed to appoint the next one?
Yeah.
Uh, People are just going to have to get educated, learn the laws, because the days of turning her head and if it don't affect me, don't get involved,
All
have
right.
have got us to where the people with little education in rural communities and that have limited means of living, they're
Lisa,
insignificant.
I am so sorry. He is just. I will be right
It's,
back.
it's honey, we can go ahead and cut it if you want
Uh,
to. It's
well, I'm
you
going.
got
I
to try.
planned on jumping back on tonight and kind of giving everybody a heads up of what's going on tonight or coming up after he goes to bed. So I'll
Okay,
send you a link, and if you're on tonight, pop back on.
okay, but you know, the thing, everybody thinks, I just can't accept it. Getting educated, a lot of long nights of learning about laws and stuff. It would have been a whole lot easier if I had actually, if he actually had done it. I mean, it still hurt,
And I'm
it
better.
still miss him. But when you have law enforcement and the people are supposed to represent the people, that they compound the problem, something's bad wrong. It's bad wrong. But take care of that little boy, and if I'm up, I'll holler at you.
Yes, I will. I'll put him down about 8 o'clock, so I'll be on about 8:30.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. I apologize, guys. There is still a lot that I want to talk about, so I'm gonna have to cut this short. Because I want to talk about the Gainesboro 4 vigil and all that good stuff. I apologize. My son is screaming bloody murder. Uh, he's just not about nap time anymore. So I'm just going to be adjusting. I may have to get on at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 before they get up. So if anybody is up around that time, I just like to catch everybody live. I know I have a hard time paying attention to the comments, but I'm trying to learn to switch and do that and pay attention. So I'm just trying to find a good time and adjust and figure out when a good time to go on. So you might be seeing me with my tired face, but I will be back on tonight. Maybe not for long, but just enough to just really catch everybody up, so that way we can move forward. So I hope you guys come back. I will see you guys later tonight.